A unique podcast taking a look behind the curtain of a contemporary culture scene with the artists, icons, and people working in the creative industry. What does their artistic process looks like and in terms of the current situation? All that and more in a moment.
Hello, guys, and welcome to our podcast channel ThermoStat Q. Today's episode will be very funny and in techno mood because our guest is very talented DJ and digital content creator and one of the greatest techno producer and art soul I ever know. BAD BOOMBOX, welcome.
Thank you for taking the time. I know it's late for you over there. It's early morning here in LA.
It's not that late. It's like 7:20 p.m. It's okay for us. So
oh, not bad. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, then let's party.
Yeah. BAD BOOMBOX is creator of his own style in LA techno community, and he was born in Bulgaria and raised in the US. And now his creative approach entwines funny characters, techno, disco, funk, and house sound, and original ideas. So we are going to discuss all these things today as well. My first question for you is, how did you start? How did start your music career?
Oh, well, I've been doing music for about 8 years now, 8 or 9 years. It all started in college. I was experimenting with a lot of different genres, just with friends. First it was like a duo, then a trio, then a duo again. And, we just like learned from each other musicians, different experiences. And eventually it evolved to a solo project. After a couple years doing it, I was like working a lot here in LA with other producers, and just like learned from them. And it's just been lots of ups and downs. But the BAD BOOMBOX project itself started exactly 2 years ago now. So yeah, that's been the best one and most consistent.
I mean, on TikTok, it's an explosion, kind of. So yeah, actually, in one of your latest video with your tattoo experience you have on YouTube, you mentioned that your dad was collecting some tapes with a lot of dance music, like technotronic, unlimited, modern talking, and mega mixes from 90s. So did that influence you in your passion for the dance music and your production?
Yeah, like I said, I grew up listening to these tapes. My dad just had this like box of tapes in the house, and a really, no pun intended, but a really bad boombox that was in the house, and I would just like play the tapes on there. And yeah, that kind of fueled it. It went on to my parents being like, yeah, play some music in the house, like let's like dance, like once a week we would just like have a dance off. And yeah, I kind of grew inspired from that, and now this point in my life, I'm revisiting that in a way. So it's really exciting to be able to like showcase that in a public place. So
that's great.
It's good.
Yeah. Who is BAD BOOMBOX?
BAD BOOMBOX is just an alias, just a name. It goes back to like those tapes, and yeah, it's a little bit of a mystery. We'll see what happens with it.
Okay. Yeah, because you have like some characters, and like it's your sign. I think it's very, very specific. That's why I'm asking who is BAD BOOMBOX. Like, it's kind of personality for you, or it's just a project?
It's well, I've taken it on to it being my entire identity now. People people refer to it as just like my name, like they like call me that in public. So I like it. I embrace it. So I'll definitely be BAD BOOMBOX for a long time.
Yeah. And what's the idea of the name?
So the name came from, actually, I hit up one of my friends that I used to work on music with. His name is Alex, goes by Izzy Perry, super talented producer. We used to be in a duo, and he was, I was more like the technical production side. He was the like lyrics and ideas and all that. And so I hit him up. I was like, yo, I know you have a whole thing of notes on your phone with like cool alliterative things, just like can you send me a couple of those? Like, I need some inspiration. And he just sent me all these things that rhyme. And yeah, I was like, wow, this Bad Boombox one, that kind of makes sense, you know, with the whole like cassette tapes thing. So yeah, I wish there was a more profound story, but
no, it's great.
he was there from the very beginning, collaborating as always.
That's great. That's amazing. Because I love it. It's long, but it sounds great when you say like Bad Boombox. It's
yeah,
good.
the triple beat.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, can you say something? Because you were talking that you had a lot of co-production and working with the other producers. Can you say something about your previous project before the Bad Boombox?
Yeah. So besides the solo stuff, I was doing some solo things under a different name while I, you know, figured out how to do the solo thing on my own. But before that was our duo was called Free Slice, and we were doing a lot of production for other people, like doing remixes, and ended up doing some Netflix movies, just like doing composition for it, and you know, some background music, and yeah, that's where we got all of our experience. So yeah, it was more of like a kind of like French house meets like LA pop project, like, you know, very house inspired, and yeah, just carrying over a lot of the original ideas that we had from way back in the day, from the college days. So yeah, it was a fun project, and we did it for a couple years, but you know, eventually had to move on.
Yeah.
Do like solo.
And you were schoolmates or just friends?
Yep, we met in school. We met at university, and at one point it was a trio with one other guy from our friend group, and all like musically inclined. So we decided to come together and make it into a whole project.
Great. Yeah, that's amazing. Actually, was working in the music industry or making music what you always dream of doing in your life?
Yeah, somehow or another. And, you know, I've heard a lot of roadblocks along the way. You know, especially here in the States, it's like a very like, you're kind of discouraged from like the creative things from early on. It's like, you know, just do stuff that makes money, like business this, business that. So yeah, I've hit a couple roadblocks where I've quit completely. But you know, now I'm back. So and now something's finally working. So
that's great. So you're just working on your projects right now, right?
Yeah, now it's only Bad Boombox. I made a promise to myself that, you know, I'm very like ADD and just like to start new things, but Bad Boombox will be, until that's like a huge thing and I can live off it, then, you know, I'll keep doing that.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's the most fun. It's literally the most fun job.
I believe that it's the most fun. For me, is just watching your videos and just listening your music, and it's fun for me. So
yeah.
How did you get your first serious gig, and how was it?
I never see like those benchmarks. It was all kind of just like a nice like linear progression. And it kind of makes sense for like the industry as a whole. Like anyone trying to get into it, it's the more natural it feels, like the better, in my opinion. Like I started in university, I was doing college parties, and then it went on to doing local bars and then local clubs and then like the city clubs. This was in Washington, D.C. And then from there, you know, I took a break and COVID hit now. And so now I'm starting a little bit further back, but working my way up again. You know, start at warehouses, move up to clubs, and you know, we'll see what happens next. But yeah, it's just like this steady evolution. It feels the most natural. I'm never nervous on stage, and
yeah, from college to warehouse, yeah, sure.
yeah. I like the intimate places too. It's really good energy. It's all about the fun, right?
Sure, and all about the people, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So company is to have a lot good people around. It's the best. You can have just two dancers on the dance floor, and it can be like, oh my gosh, this great party. So sure.
Those have been the most fun. Those have been the most fun. I had there was this one party I remember years ago where it was literally just like 3 of my friends in like this basement, and that's probably one of the best DJ experience I had. Like we're all just going crazy. But yeah, otherwise in the techno and house community, it's all about community. It all comes down to that. So, you know, as much fun as I'm having, like, you know, being on stage as a solo project, I'm in service to the community and the scene. Like that's the purpose.
Yeah, sure. I agree. I mean, we are doing our thermostat things, and not only the podcast, because the idea of thermostat first was doing parties, like private parties for our friends. And it was like that, like 3 friends in an old house in the small village here in Slovakia. And just playing a lot of techno and also your tracks. So, and people were like out of control, and it was amazing, like the lights there and everything.
Yes, I saw some videos that you sent me. That's it's really exciting to see.
Actually, you're always invited, so when you will be here, so we hope to have you there.
Absolutely. I've never been to Slovakia, but I've been close, so yeah.
I know you were traveling a lot, because I saw that you were traveling around like Europe. And so which countries you saw and where you been?
I hit a lot of different places, like traveled through a lot of different countries in Europe. It's like 20, 25, something like that. But
wow,
I ended up living more long term, like at least a few months in. The longest was Berlin in Germany, but then I also did Kiev, Ukraine, Zadar, Croatia, Marseille, France, Toulouse, France, Barcelona. Yeah, and then since Prague's in the middle, I would always go through Prague like every couple of weeks. Would spend a week there. And
that's amazing.
Yeah.
May I have a question? How old are you?
I'm 28.
Wow. I mean, traveling like living literally in 5 countries, or how much you said, and 25 countries, and you are only wow.
I mean, it took a few years, but I started.
I know. Yeah.
Started the trip when I was 25, I think. Yeah, and until coronavirus, it was like 2.5 years of just with a backpack on, and a lot of times I was like hitchhiking or couch surfing, and it actually that's what inspired this BAD BOOMBOX project in the first place. It like at that point when I started the trip, I had like fully, I was still living in LA, and I was like disillusioned with music. Like it was all like Hollywood, and it made me mad, and so I had fully quit until my trip to Europe, and I started going to clubs there, and I was like really inspired again, and decided to start it back up.
Yeah. So. Fresh air for sure.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. And like just seeing the culture, it's like it's very different. How it's treated in Europe as opposed to, on the West Coast of the United States.
Yeah, sure. I agree. I mean, I was in the US when I was 12. And it's a long time ago. I have
Where'd
family.
You
go? Chicago and Florida. That's it.
Oh, I mean, great. Chicago's great.
Yeah, but I was a little girl just seeing the skyscrapers, and it was like, oh, that's amazing. And it's kind of different when you're older and you just explore the country and you see the culture and you see the people there, and you are talking a lot, because I didn't speak English well that time, so it was kind of like just talking with my family, and that's it. So I didn't make friends. But now is different, and I hope for better times for traveling. So I really want to explore much more and traveling around, like in Europe and US too. But we'll see. So
yeah. I mean, things are opening back up.
Yeah.
It's gonna be this time next year. Everything will be great. I'm optimistic.
Me too, for sure. And
exploring.
Yeah, and also for the parties, for the festivals and everything. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so where do you get the ideas for your new music?
Well, I lately it's kind of come down to a system. I have to work very fast, like just so it just all comes from one stream of consciousness. Sometimes it helps if I stand up, because it makes sense, right? If you're making dance music, like you should kind of be moving around. I find that it helps a lot, and a lot of times, especially the most recent EP that I had on Fantastic Voyage, shout out Justin J. It was more of I would find some really, really obscure sample that I can play with. Like I would go like scour the depths of Discogs and YouTube and find like, some old, song from the 70s from all over the world, and just try to chop it up, like mangle it in some kind of way, throw it through a sequencer or something, and just kind of play with the melody before really laying down the rhythm. And yeah, it created some interesting results, and I'm gonna keep doing that. But yeah, as long as that idea is done, like the melody, I have to get that within 10-15 minutes. If it takes me longer, then I just start over, and then the track, like I try to finish like same day. It's it's essential.
Amazing. Okay, which music genre or musicians, artists inspire you the most?
It fluctuates a lot. There's so many talented DJs these days, and especially with social media, you get to see kind of what they're doing. I've always been a huge fan of when I was doing other musical genres too in the past. I've always been a huge fan of Reggie Watts. He's just like one of the most, like, everything is improvised, just like stream of consciousness, just one thing, just improvising everything, and really, really talented guy, like singer, and he does like the live loops. And in that same space, Beardy Man, like since I was little, I was watching him, like the way he invents this crazy technology to do these like live loops and everything. It's like so inspiring to see, even if it is like crazy different genres. Lately I've been a huge fan of Hector Roques. Actually, I saw him a couple weeks ago here in LA, and it's the same thing. I love to see people that are like really in the zone, and he's kind of the king of that. Like he puts the vinyl on and he just goes into another world, and you get to kind of be part of that. So I've been watching him a lot.
Great. I mean, I'm not really. I don't know. I know Hector, but I don't know the others. But yeah, I mean, it's really good if you have someone like you can see that they are doing something amazing, which you really appreciate, and you can learn from them. That's amazing. Okay, what could we find in your playlist right now?
Yeah, so I have a couple tracks from this British producer, Ewan McVicker. He's super talented in the acid house genre. I always love his productions. On the more techno side, I've included a lot of, besides Hector Roques, VTSS has had some really good releases lately. I always love playing her stuff. DJ Fuck Off, she's so cool.
Yeah,
she's really gonna blow up in the scene, and I've been seeing new tracks from her too. So yeah, she's on there too, and my new releases too. So kind of.
I didn't know that DJ Fuck Off is she. I just know one or two songs, and she's on the feet. Like one song is from Daga.
Yeah, Daga's so cool.
Yeah.
Got a bunch of Daga on the playlist.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, so I saw that they collaborate together. So I was like, oh, this is cool. DJ Fuck Off. That's great.
Yeah, she's bringing that bad bitch stuff, that bad bitch sauce, putting it on putting the stank on the tracks. I love it.
Yeah, me too. What does your production setup include?
Well, I like to keep it pretty basic because, I was traveling a lot. I have a really good pair of headphones. I have the Bear Dynamic 1990s, DT 1990s. you know, it's really important if I'm on the road and I don't have speakers, like it's really important to just hear every little thing about it. I use SonarWorks with it too, just so it's extra flat frequency response. That's plugged into my Apollo Twin Duo that I've had for like 8 years now. It's on its last leg, but it's still holding up. And yeah, it like barely fits in my backpack, but you know, it's along for the ride. And yeah, just like my old MacBook, I'm gonna have to get the new one soon. But yeah, everything goes through that little hard drive with it. When I'm here at home, for now, I have a Native Instruments Control MIDI keyboard, and yeah, I just use that for the melodies and the loops. But yeah, I like to also when I'm at home, I have a pair of Genelecs. They're like the really small ones for studio monitors. But I love how accurate they are. Maybe one day I'll get a pair of Atoms, but you know, for now, that's all that can fit in my suitcase. So,
the last album you've produced was Frequent Flyer. How did you come up with the idea for the album? It's album and or EP? I'm sorry.
I think it's EP length, but with the extra remix on it, I guess it makes it album length. It's yeah, it's I guess a long EP. We call it the EP, but
okay. Okay, and what was the concept created before the music production?
I didn't have a concept. It was just an experiment. This was a year ago now, or over a year ago, when my when my memes started taking off. I got a message from a guy I was following a lot, Justin J, who's super talented producer, just like, and really good teacher, like can just unlock parts of people's minds like by asking the right questions. And so I was talking with him. I had one conversation with him, and he helped me just like explore and just get weird with it and experiment. And actually, you can see the musical evolution of my of my music before I had the conversation with Justin and after. So I owe him a lot. But he helped me really just. He's like, yo, man, just get weird with it. Go deep. Let's see what you can come up with. Like, I want to see what what kind of crazy ideas are floating around out there. So that's where I started sampling like the really old music that I was telling you earlier about. At first it was the track Rosa. I think that was the first one I made. It was from 1980, Kazakhstan, Rosa Rumbaeva. She's super talented, and I sampled her, like one of her hits, and just chopped it up, mashed it up, and yeah, it like ended up pretty good, like kind of like this like housey version. And yeah, then all the other ones started coming from that. It was all from countries that I wanted to visit, and that's why we called it Frequent Flyer, because you know I was traveling a lot, but not to the places from which every track on that EP is a sample from something weird, and I would like to visit all those places.
I mean, that's a good start.
Yeah.
To release an EP, and after that, I'm like, okay,
yeah,
I will visit that country there.
Yeah. Sometimes you make the plan that way.
Yeah.
And yeah, it like kind of forces you to do it. I have on the EP, I have Kazakhstan was the first one. There was a song from Brazil, a song from Lithuania, a song from South Korea, and a song from Indonesia.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I mean, and
Yeah.
Kwang is from?
That's Kwang is from Korea. Yeah.
Korea. Okay.
Mm-hmm. South Korea at the time.
Korea. Okay. Wow. Great. Okay. What was the biggest challenge with this EP production wise?
Production wise, it was right when I had that conversation with Justin. I was still doing a lot more like house and tech house at the time, and I wasn't very passionate about it. I just know I could do it. And then, you know, Justin helped me kind of like explore and, you know, do a sound that's like still more true to me. But yeah, there's this over the past year. So that was a year ago. Over the past year, obviously my taste in production has like evolved a lot. I've sped it up a lot. I've made it a little bit darker. So the struggle with the EP was I was always worried, like, is this like a consistent sound? Does this sound like Bad Boombox? Does it sound like something I would make? You know, given this evolution, you know, the tracks being almost a year apart. But yeah, then Justin reassured me. It's like, dude, it sounds like you know, you really went in on it and explored it. So that's what matters, and people are going to be able to tell. So don't worry about that. But yeah, otherwise the rest of it is just whatever just came to mind. I just put it on thing. I didn't worry about the outcome, and it worked out.
Okay, so what program do you use for your music production?
All in Ableton. When I was still little and, you know, I got my first computer and all that, like I had a Fruity Loop Studio like everyone else, but eventually in college when I wanted to get serious with it, I started learning Ableton, and it, you know, just became the standard for all my projects.
So yeah, I'm using Ableton too. I mean, it's I'm still kind of confused, and it's a session view, an arrangement view, I think. Yeah, so I'm doing more in arrangement view.
Yeah, I'm always arrangement. I rarely use the session. I had the push, like the first one that came out, and you know, it's all based on the session view, and I just never ever used it. It's just like triggering the loops. Like it works it's, you know, because like Live was originally built for, you know, live performances, like not as much production, so it made sense. But I don't use it for live, so
yeah, I'm kind of confused of that view.
yeah.
I don't know why. I was trying to understand, but I'm kind of confused still. But I think I will figure it out soon. But also, I'm not doing live shows, so I'm using it for production too. So, what's your favorite tool or plugin you use in your production?
Well, to be honest, the more I explore, you know, my production skills and all that, and like the better I get at certain techniques, the more I realize myself using only the default. Like besides at this stage, it's like besides using just like a fab filter limiter for self masters, pretty much everything is everything except like one synth. I use Diva a lot. Pretty much everything is default Ableton, just Ableton stock. They really made it so that, you know, they have everything you ever need, especially version 11. There's some really good reverbs and delays now. So, yeah. And it keeps my computer happy, too. My computer freaks out when I have too many plugins going. So,
yeah. Yeah, and 11 is a lot of good things right now.
It's awesome, yeah. So for synth, I use Diva a lot. Also, UHE has Ace and Zebra. And I use a lot of Max for Live, which is, you know, the ones that come with Ableton. I like some sequencers. One is called AICD. I use it for sequencing a lot. That's really it. Compressors, EQs, all that. That's all Ableton. And the limiter is Fab Filter.
Great. As I said at the beginning, you are also a digital content creator. How did you get the idea to do the characters for Bad Boombox?
That was fun. That was all through experimenting. Like I always shoot my DJ sets with 2 cameras, and in Premiere I, you know, put them together and, you know, edit one out so that the other. But since it's in front of a green screen, at one point there was I remember editing. It was last year when it like happened. They were overlapping, but at 2 like separate points. So there was like a double of me DJing, and I was like looking at it. I was like, wait, that actually looks kind of cool. What if I can explore that a little bit? And so I kept doubling myself just like on screen. And then it went on to, what if I shoot each one of these dances but like individually and then just put them in later? So then I was doing that. And then finally I was like, wait, this could be so much funnier if each one of these was doing their own separate thing and had like a separate outfit. So it started with just a few of them. And, you know, I was like wearing a wig in one of them. It's funny. And then I decided with each, I would do the set monthly. So with each one, I would just introduce a few new ones. And it got to the point where there's like 20 of them. And this kind of came from like when it was like the height of COVID out here. So like everything was locked down. I was like, man, we're never going to see another Boiler Room set. So why don't I just like make my own and just have this kind of like party of like clones behind me. And yeah, like some of my friends here, they were like, yo, what if like we just like come stand behind you? It's like, no, it's like way funnier if it's just like the same guy just dressed all different. We'll see how long I keep doing that though. I do want the project to evolve a little bit. We'll see what happens with the characters, but stay tuned for that.
Yeah. Are you working on some new projects except for Bad Boombox?
No, besides my day job is I do content creation, video work. I do like video editing, motion graphics, like stuff like that, which is, you know, as you can tell in the videos, in the Bad Boombox videos, like that's helped start it in the first place. So that's my job during the day. And other than that, no, like Bad Boombox has all my focus, and you know, I really, really want to develop it and like see have the whole world see it. So
yeah, I think that Europe is not ready yet for Bad Boombox, but we are excited for your shows. Can you describe how do you see LA techno scene?
LA techno scene is actually really cool. It's like one of the more unique techno scenes I've seen around the world. It has a lot of room to grow. There's a lot of people curious. You know, there's like 10 million people live here, and a lot of whom are also fed up with the whole like commercial club scene. And, you know, it's like very like all the Hollywood stuff out here. It's like, it gets so monotonous, so boring. And so there's always, whatever the main culture is of the city, there has to be the equal and opposite counterculture. That's like some Newtonian physics right there. But the counterculture here has a lot of opportunity because of all the media stuff going on. It's a very, very creative city in the first place. So it does have a lot of room to grow. It's still a very new scene. Like I see the same faces every time I go out to the warehouses here, and there's a lot of people working on some really cool projects. I've gotten to see the growth of 6 a.m. of Control Room. Everyone's super cool. I do have some complaints with the scene in general of no, not the scene in general, more like the scene in LA as how it's evolved due to the culture of the city itself. It's very hard to get places. Like downtown for me is a 15-minute drive away. It costs like $100 to Uber there, and there's no like taxis, there's no public transportation. So something like that directly affects the underground scene. You know, people want to go rave, people want to go party, but it's like impossible to commit to a plan unless, you know, you happen to be in part of that city. It's a massive, massive city. You know, it's like the size of a small country. So, yeah. So that's one problem. So if LA does something about that, then we can really see the underground scene also explode with it.
I didn't know that. It's like that because I was talking with one guy. He's also living in LA, and he said that the LA's techno scene or techno in general in LA in America is different than in Europe. Then in Europe it's like bigger, and the scene is like a lot of people is listening to that music. Then he was describing me like LA, and you know, it's like, as you said, Hollywood things and indie pop, indie rock, and you know that people are in that kind of music and maybe rap scene, but not into techno that much. That's why I'm asking you how you see it, because you know.
Yeah, that's a good thing if it's underground. You know, if it's small, like, because then you just see the very beginning, the beginning stages of it. You know, and you know, some of the techno guys out here, they've been working it for so long. I really respect it. Like 6 a.m. has been throwing parties for over 10 years now, I'm pretty sure. So, but yeah, there's a lot of room for it to grow. You know, it's huge in Europe, obviously, but yeah, I'd love to see LA, you know, put its name on the map of you know, where a lot of techno artists are coming from. And yeah, I wish it the best. I just hope it doesn't, you know, turn into in the distant future. I hope it doesn't turn into like one of like the over commercialized scenes, but I've hopes. I have high hopes that, you know, it'll be good. People always want to rave and always want to go underground and go deeper. So it's
also, as we said before, about the community and about people. So yeah, sure.
Exactly. Yeah. The community is hungry. They're hungry for something new. There's a lot of interest in what's happening all over the world, and it's, you know, coming to the LA stage.
Yeah, I agree with you. Do you have some crazy, funny memories from your shows?
Well, actually, last weekend I was in Denver, and I played an old prog rock song from the 2000s, Creed with Arms Wide Open. And I started the set that way, and I knew that it would really confuse the crowd, but I just like kept going with it. So part of it was I wanted to reset the crowd. The guy before me, he was killing it, but I needed to kind of drop the energy a little bit. So what better way than to play a cheesy old rock song? The other part of it was I played it for so long because I never planned any of the sets. So I was just frantically searching for the next song, like scrolling through the CDJ, just like, that's not good. And then, yeah, it took half the song to pick the next one. So,
I mean, because you mentioned that you played Krieg, and I was like, wow, this is not really into techno mood, but I kind of understand. I was kind of confused. I was like, did he play a remix of this song or whatever?
Nope. The original acoustic version with strings.
Amazing. I love it.
Yeah, it was a lot of it was a lot of fun. I was sweating. You should have seen me. I was sweating
But that's the point of it. Like, to have fun, to sweat, to play music you love, and to give the energy to the people, and people will give you energy back. So that's all.
Yeah.
All that.
Yeah, it kind of brought I could see, it was a smaller venue, so I could see individual faces, and the look of confusion at first, then kind of the confusion turning into, okay, we're all in this together. We'll we got your back. Don't worry. And then just created a really good vibe. Got to meet everyone after, and was the risk paid off.
Actually, can we look forward to some new music in the near future from you?
Yeah, I'm sitting on just from this whole pandemic, I have probably like 30 tracks like just ready, trying to get the right label or the right promo for it. And so you'll be seeing some self-releases for sure in the near future. And yeah, the rest of it is the rest of it is secret.
Sure.
I have been playing a lot of these IDs in the recent sets though. So.
Oh yeah. Okay. So the unreleased things.
Yeah.
I'm always mad at the DJs in some way.
I know.
Because it's kind of like, oh, this is so good. And after that, I see the track list and I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah.
I want to play this song and it's not released yet. I'm like, oh. I'm kind of mad, but I kind of understand. Yeah,
there's several theories behind it. Like I try not to play too much a song that's not going to be out for a long time. Like if I play an ID and I let it play out and all that, like in the height of the set, it's going to be something that's coming out within like a month or two. But sometimes at the same time, I do see how DJs do want to test out their productions. You know, a lot of the times they're traveling, and you know, they only like made it on headphones,
Sure.
so they want to hear
Yeah.
it on club speakers, or they want to hear, you know, the demo, like how the crowd reacts to it. And it just so happens that, you know, the set's recorded, and then
Yeah.
everyone's gonna be like asking for it. So a little bit of a give and take. It's
Yeah.
conflicting messages, conflicting theories, but yeah, like I said, I try not to experiment too much with it, because I know that people will be asking for the ID, and it's always sad. I get sad when I'm like asking for the ID, and it's like the song's not even done yet, and then you know, and then you kind of forget about it like 6 months later, and
Sure.
you know.
I had that situation and I was going crazy about that songs. It was like 2 songs in one set, and it was from X Coast, if you know him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he released, I think it was an album, and he collaborated with some guy in Serbia, or I don't know. And Dart, he's from Ireland. He was playing on a Boiler Room that songs, and I was like, wow, this is like, he wrote it in the track list, and I was trying to find it, and it wasn't his name there, because he named like, it was, the name of the EP was a K-Pax, and like a half year after, I think Dart just like mentioned on this Instagram story, like, oh, by the way, this album is out. And I was like, wow. Like, okay,
Damn.
6 months after, great. So I was like going to Bandcamp and just buy it. So yeah. And it was kind of like, I was waiting so long for that, because it was amazing, and I was like, I want to play it. I want to play it in my set. And yeah. And the same I had it with also with the Dart remix, but he didn't release it. Like, it's not out, and it's great edit of one alt song. And I was like asking him on Instagram stories too, and it was like not released.
Man. Sometimes though, it's good that you asked though, because then sometimes they'll send you the track. Like, sometimes I've been sent a track that's like not even done yet. It's like, don't send it. They tell me like, don't send it out. It's just a self master, or like something like that. Like, so when you get an ID like that, it's you know, it's like empowering. Like, you feel like, oh, I have this like special.
Yeah. Yeah, and sure, and especially if you find something which have like it's only on a Bandcamp, you know, you can't find it on YouTube, and you just found it, and you are playing in your set, and people are going to you and like, oh, this is a good song, what's the song? And I was like, yeah, I know. So yeah, it's really satisfying moment. Like, you are working hard and you are searching for good music, and after that, like, people like it. That's really good, that your music taste is good and it's worth it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How do you normally find music these days? Are you really deep in the Bandcamp?
Not really deep in a Bandcamp, but most of the time I I don't have to search for new music, because we are doing podcast. So no, I'm joking, but also we have a lot of good musicians here in Slovakia. I didn't know that before, but it's a lot of good music here too. I can send you if you want. It's a lot of techno too, and also I'm searching on a Bandcamp too, but mostly I'm following the producers, and you know, and they're like
Yes,
you.
yeah.
I'm following you, and I know every single release you do, you know. So when you release a new song, I know it, like, you know. So that's why. But for new musicians, we are trying to send to each other with Christian a lot. Like, I found something, I sent him, and he found something. Actually, we were in a car, like, before we started the recording, because we were working on something, and he was like, I need to play to you a really good techno song, because I found it right now and I need to play it in the car. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And it was like starting like some acid things, you know, and I love acid sound, it's amazing. And it's like, oh, that's exciting. And I was like, I expect some classical techno kick, you know, and like, and when it comes, it was like huge and a massive kick. It was like double or whatever sound. And I was like, and I started screaming in the car, and I was like, that's awesome. That's amazing. And I love it. And I need to play it on my set. And
hell yeah.
I think it's from Orgie or something like that. I can send you. It's great.
Yes,
it's like,
please.
Oh, it's massive. And I was like, wow, where did you find it? And he was like, you already had it on your disc, but you didn't know that.
Oh no.
And I was like, okay, bro, I have to check it. And then because I have a lot of playlists from him on my disc, is like Crisco playlist, and I was like, okay, I have to listen to that music because he has a really good taste for, like, in general, for music. So
good. Yeah, that's people who show you the new music, they're important.
okay, so what do you think makes a good song?
My theory on that, and stop me if I start rambling too much, but you know how in film it's, you know, you go to the movies, you go and film, and also, you know, videos, YouTubers, all that, it all comes down to story. There's a lot of, you know, people do like crazy like camera tricks or like cool lighting effects or whatever, but if the story's not there, it's a terrible movie. And the equal to that in music, I think, is emotion. And if you can't generate emotion, doesn't matter how many cool techniques you have, doesn't matter what effects you use, like all that, it's all about just, it has to come from a place of like whatever you're feeling, like you have to like be able to effectively communicate that, and so that the person listening can also feel the same things. In our space, or at least in techno and house, it's motion creates emotion, right? I gotta get the person moving, I gotta be moving. I like fun, light, groovy things that you know, like are like funky, like a lot of disco influence, like things like that get me moving. And if I can start moving, it changes my mood, and for the better. So yeah, so specifically in my genre, I think what makes a good song is if it has the right things that like gets me moving. But in general, in music in general, you know, obviously there's a lot of different styles out there, a lot of different styles of techno too. It comes down to emotion, and it has to be communicated, right?
Yeah, I agree. I have no words because you said everything about that. It's like that. Sure. And what's your favorite song that you have produced?
My favorite right now, I don't want to. There's a couple new ones, but of the ones that are out, I love what happened with Phytoplankton. It's on the Fantastic Voyage EP. It was just such a. I remember it took so little time. Everything just came out so right. With like the sample and with just like creating these like cool like atmospheric effects that made it kind of feel like it was underwater. And I was like kind of at the time like remembering like some of the inspiration behind it. I was taking all these like always these midnight swims when I was living in Croatia, and it's just like, you know, just seeing the moon and the stars, all that like reflecting the thing, it just like got me in like a certain mood. And I think I was able to capture both the underwater feeling and the subsequent like dance party like afterward, like all in one song. It just came out naturally, and I only ever did like one edit of it, and you know, just sent it off. So yeah, I really, really love that one.
Yeah,
That's Phytoplankton.
that's amazing that you, sometimes you don't have to think about it, just it's going naturally, and yeah, it's there.
In general, I mean, that's I feel like that's like how to work on music too, on dance music specifically as well. It's like if it has to come out fast, because then it comes from the gut. If you overthink it, then, so I try not to let myself overthink it. Just like if it takes more than a certain amount of time, like sometimes I even delete the project. I don't even like.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah, sure. Actually, what's the hardest thing about the music production in your opinion?
Well, yeah, just going right off of that. It's the hardest thing is when you get into this groove, and when you hear something good that you made, and if it's good and the loop sounds good, it's just so tempting to just listen to it again. But with each re-listen, each time you listen to it, it like your ears adjust to it, and then your ears start lying to you, and then your brain starts lying to you, and then you don't know who to trust. You can't trust your ears anymore. Like, like the music memes, they're like, trust your ears, bro. Well, sometimes you can't, because it sounds completely different. And so that's the biggest challenge. It's like getting it done fast. Like, learn all your shortcuts, like learn come up with your own system of just like getting it done fast, so that it can feel the listener. It's a service to the listener, because then they can feel that it came from the gut. They can feel that it came from one stream of consciousness, and not like something that you worked on for months and just kept adding little things, So yeah, that's my biggest challenge, at least.
Okay. If you could work with any artist of any genre, who would that be?
If I could, man, for that question, I don't really have a good answer for it, because there's just, like I said, there's so much talent and so many different things going on. It was, in terms of for a visual experience, / back-to-back experience, I would love to do a set with Party Boy 69. Obviously, he is the man. I'm very much inspired by what he's doing. He's doing really cool things. But yeah, otherwise, we'll just see. Like, in terms of collaborations, we'll see what happens.
Actually, what is the biggest struggle you have related to promoting your music?
I explained a little earlier with how Justin J kind of helped me like explore the actual music I wanted to make. But like at that point, my my TikToks, my memes were already kind of taking off with some of the music I already had released. I had a lot of tech house that it was like really fun to make, and like the guys that released it, like they kind of helped. They were there from the very beginning when I had like 2 followers, right? But the music itself like wasn't quite me, and I was kind of just producing what was cool at the time. One of the struggles I have right now is still from that, like from a year ago, 2 years ago, when like I had all that music out. There's still, people like either re-release it or like tag me in something that's old, or like promote like those like older songs, and which kind of I'm very grateful for. Obviously, I love when people play my music, but for the new stuff and the new sound that's more authentic to like what I wanted to do in the first place, it kind of conflicts. It competes with itself.
I understand.
Yeah. Like there's so many like cool like labels I want to work with, and I feel like they like look at my old stuff. They're like, what is this? Like, this doesn't fit. It's like, no, it's not. It's just a different vibe. It's not good or bad. It's just like never, for any aspiring artists listening, like don't ever regret like what you're doing in the moment. Just finish it, put it out. But yeah, it just takes, when you try to rebrand a little bit, it takes a lot of effort. So currently struggling with that, but it'll work itself out.
Yeah, I understand. It's kind of, we were talking with Christian too, like he was thinking about to remake his old album, and I was like, don't do that. Like, please don't do that. I mean, I know why. I know he's struggling with that because the sound is better right now. Like with his new album, it's much better, and you can hear the process and the progress and everything he was working on. And but you know, like I was like I said to him that maybe it will be a step back if you will do that. So like and he was like, yeah, but, and I was like, okay, it's your music, but I know why you're thinking like that, but I think it's like going forward is better, and like do some new stuff, you know. So yeah. But yeah, I know you were talking about different things, but this is, I think,
it's the same. It's you're revisiting your what you used to make, but like that comes from the thinking of thinking that like you have in your head, you have a limited amount of ideas, right? But it's not like that. Each one just keeps getting better and better. So the more you can do the new stuff, the more it just like helps you. And it's when you like get stuck like trying to fix or edit something, it just always, for me at least, it always gets worse. So I try to just, instead of like fixing the track I made a week ago, I'll just make a new one.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, where do you see yourself in the near future? Like in your producer career, like to have some.
Yeah. So with production, I want to have obviously the message spread, the message being, you know, like put the fun back into techno, and just like evolve the brand as well, you know, via the production style. And I'd like to see it just make its way around like to a wider audience, to like some cool labels. That's for the near future. For the distant future, eventually when, you know, I've perfected what I do, I'd like to teach it, because, you know, you gotta pass the torch. You gotta you know, inspire like the new generation and all that. So, and I do love sharing tips and tricks, and I've had some private students so far. So I'd love to expand that. That's for like the far future, and teach not only the production, but also, you know, how I was able to, you know, do all this like random other stuff I'm doing and like, you know, with like shows and all that too. So
sure, like 50 years old BAD BOOMBOX. Still raving.
yeah. That's actually a lot of times I go out to the club. Anytime I'm with my dad and it's like his birthday, we go out to a club, especially if we're in Europe. Yeah, we go out and we go to the clubs, and then my dad's like the type of guy that is just dancing so hard, just like so sweaty, and then like, yeah,
that's amazing.
And I knew like I want to be that, because there's always so many people come up to him, and they come up to me, it's like, is that your dad? Like, oh my god. Like, so
really?
Yeah, and he's like in his 50s, and you know, still dancing. So yeah, I definitely want to do that too.
That's amazing. I mean, I think it doesn't matter what people say and what's going on around. If you are in that moment and you feel the music, it's like, doesn't matter what is around you. Like, you are with your dude, or you are in your bubble, and you're just like,
yeah, total freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. We were in, like, last month, I think it was a party in my hometown, and Christian came, and there were really good DJs from Slovakia, and they were playing also techno music and like a really like tech house and like deep things, and we were like, every single song was amazing, and we knew every single song, so we were dancing like everywhere together, and I lost my phone.
Oh no.
And one girl, one girl, she just found my phone, and she was like, I had on my phone my logo, like my DJ name. And she was like opening the phone, and she was like, hey, is this your phone? And I was like, yeah, how did you know that? And she was like, you're Emita, right? And I was like, yeah, I am. Who are you? And she was like, I know you because I know a friend from the east side of the country, and we are friends, and we were talking about you and that you are a DJ. And I was like, wait a moment, we need to talk about this.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was kind of funny, and she's super cute. She's like a really, really kind girl, and we were talking like a whole night after that together, and and she was like, yeah, we know each other, and like I was like, that's amazing that you know girl from the east side, and me too, and we are on the west side of the country. I mean, that's kind of amazing.
Small world.
Really, really small. Yeah. So yeah, that's
awesome.
That's awesome.
There you go. It worked out, and you got your phone back.
Yeah. So I'm glad that I have my phone, and I was like, I will not change my logo from my phone because it saves my phone. So yeah. Actually, speaking of music and speaking of music industry, what is the one thing you would like to change in the music industry?
I've seen the evolution of a lot of different genres after being in it several years now. And this is across all genres, like what I notice starts as like a very organic, like small project that turns into a small community, that turns into a bigger community. Eventually there's this peak of it, and when it starts to go down is like when the sound becomes a lot of people start copying it, and it becomes very commercialized. And it happens in house music all the time, happens in techno all the time, in like the local communities. And I don't know the solution to that, but it's like something about our current system. It just like doesn't work. I've noticed the genres have so much more longevity in certain places I've been around the world, like certain European countries. Here in LA, it's like the absolute opposite example of that. You see something good that starts organically, and then it just it's a business, right? And it becomes so just standard and stale, like very fast. And just like the money side of things like tends to kill the spirit of it. And so it's because people, like the system we have here, like people like need to survive and need to like, just like be better than everyone else, and it becomes dependent on that, and like the music loses the flavor. Versus other places I see when it's kind of especially like underground techno, like when I was living in Berlin, it's like very like anti-capitalist. That stuff, the music ends up living forever. You'll go to a club, they'll be playing a record that's 25, 30 years old, and it still sounds like authentic. So so it's something about the system, man. Like, fuck the system.
I agree with you. I mean, the real truth is that the money changed the character, and money changed everything, which is, but not in the positive way in the music industry. So yeah, I mean, that's what I really appreciate about the independent artists, that they are working on their music, and it's really hard to pay for everything, for tour, for a concert, for music, for whatever. Because I like one rapper he's from US, but Connecticut, I think. Yeah. And he's independent artist, and he had a lot of followers. He's like kind of famous in the US, but he's still independent. He's not signed, and that's what I really appreciate, because he did it from his closet and from his room. He was recording his first things and posted on the SoundCloud like for free. And now he did European tour twice.
Wow.
And that's kind of amazing.
Who is it?
Because
Who's the artist?
with Larry.
Oh, I don't know.
I will send you. It's no problem. But we did actually, the first episode in English was with his producer,
Oh, really?
Dan Haynes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's living right now in Denver, and I was talking with him about everything, how they started. They also actually started at the college, and he was also a college DJ before.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
after that, he started, like, he was playing piano and guitar, and he started like learning to production, and they met at a college, and they were just doing like a small concert for like a bunch of people, you know, like the first tour was like 30 people on the stage, you know. So, and after that, in 1 or 2 years, he did a European tour, and it's amazing. I mean, I love his music because it's passion in it, and everything. Like, it's about his life, and it's real. So that's what I really love about them. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, it's good to see that going then.
Yeah. Actually, it's rap music, which is kind of like I was talking with my friends, and they were like, that's not you. I was like, yeah, but I like their music. And I was like, yeah, I know I'm not into a rap that much, because like I'm more into electronic music, but this is like a one artist which I really appreciate for everything. Like, it's like a box.
Yeah, you can always feel it. That's it comes down to that feeling, and when you feel that like an artist feels stuck, then like they're, you know, you hear it in the music and the character and the way they perform. But yeah, it's all about that connection, right? And if being independent helps the connection, then hell yeah, gotta take it.
Sure, for sure. Yeah. What would be your advice to young emerging producers, artists?
Just keep going. Like, just push forward and make it as true to yourself as possible. Like, don't, you know, that's like the advice everyone gives, but it's just the most important thing is don't do the current trends, what's cool, what isn't. Like, it's like really try to like dig deep down and like the stuff that like really inspires you the most. Like, see if it's something that you heard when you were a kid or when you were growing up or when you went through a hard time. Just like, you know, whatever gets you going, just do it. You know, don't make the same mistakes I made by just like chasing trends like way back a couple years ago. Yeah, just if you're 100% real, then like you'll see the music just flow out like with ease, and you don't have to struggle like editing little things. Like, it'll be easy. So, you know, make it easy for yourself and do your future self a favor.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. We need realness, more realness. Yeah.
Do you have some strange addiction?
That's a funny question. Oh man, I love just like getting really into like random new things and just doing it 100%. Lately, the most recent thing has been this is only like a couple weeks old, but I discovered the power and amazingness, if that's a word, of canned sardines, like the fish.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be a new. Eventually, it'll turn into some like Bad Boombox thing. But wow. Yeah, everywhere I go, I bring a can with me, and just like, it's super healthy. It tastes fucking amazing, and just eating canned sardines, just at least once a day.
I mean, this is called real life. For sure. I have no words. I mean, yeah.
I'm an addict. Help me. I'm an addict. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think I have the last question for you. And it's, what do you manifest in your life?
I want to manifest like just good vibes and good energy for the future. Like everyone just don't take everything so seriously anymore. And it's like why is everyone like so freaked out and stressed out all the time? Like we just need if we can channel some of that. if that's the way to put it, very generally.
I mean, we can manifest whatever we want. So that's the beautiful thing about it. And sure, I think a lot of people are stressing out, and they are like, like work and money and, like family stuff and everything. But sure, I agree with you. Come on. We are right now, right here, and we need to have a fun and good energy all the time. I mean, sometimes it's hard, and I know that. Like, not every single day is the great day, but in general, like, if you have good people around and friends around and dogs around, animals around, they had a lot of good energy. It's kind of, you can just feel it, just smell it, and the nature and like everything is. Is there
a lot of good nature like around you? Is there like a good lake to swim in like locally? You have to travel with us. Yes.
After that, we have High Tatras, biggest mountains in Slovakia, but it's on the east side. But I have a lot of friends there, and they love drinking. So prepare your stomach, prepare everything.
All right.
So it's a strong alcohol here in Slovakia, so just have to.
What's it called? Like the homemade stuff?
Yeah, it's homemade stuff. Do you know rakia?
Yeah, we have it in Bulgaria.
Yeah, so it's like a rakia, but it's like from the different types of fruits. From the plums, it's slivovica, for example. So stay tuned. We are ready for you. So yeah, it's a lot.
I'm excited.
It's a lot of nice places here to explore. Like, we're a small country, but still it's a lot of to see here.
Yeah, a lot of. That's what I love about Europe so much. It's like there's all this history and everything. The U.S. is still a really new country, and it's cool, but there's not a lot has happened. So I'm excited, and your show and your listeners are like the first to hear that I've decided to move to the Czech Republic. So I will be there. In several months. Just like hopefully COVID doesn't mess things up, but that's the plan. And then we can get some Slivovica
for sure.
And explore nature.
I think you will love it. For sure. Yeah, we are really excited. See you here and to spend a little time together. So yeah. So thank you very much. We are very happy that we could add you here with us in our podcast, and also it was a great opportunity for us to talk with such a special host from overseas.
Thank you so much for having me. This is it's good to get ideas out. I don't get to talk enough about the project, so it's good chatting with you. You're a lot of fun.
Me too. And wish you good luck and see you soon in Europe. We are excited.
Yes.
So yeah, looking forward.
Can't wait
too. Okay, so you are listening our podcast Thermostat Q with Emita and with Bad Boombox right now. So see you in the next episode. Bye.